Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IS. Today we are going to have the Hindu analysis of 1st February 2022, the Hindu newspaper. Yes, let's see which are the important articles from today's the Hindu newspaper. Yes, yesterday Economic Survey 2021-22 was released. So major part of the news we'll cover today is the highlights of this economic survey. Also there is one article on op-ed page talking about the important we can say cases which are pending before the constitutional benches of Supreme Court and why there is need of urgently we can say look into those cases and give some verdict. We will try to find out which are these cases, and we need to also take input from GS2 paper polity part. On world page, page number 11, there is one article which says African Union suspended Burkina Faso because of the coup that has happened there. Okay, so we will try to find out the location of this country in the African continent, and then Burkina Faso map, African Union, some basic information of this regional grouping of African countries. Okay, so this is important for prelims examination from IR section also. Okay, yes. Let's go into detail. So all this highlights of economic survey, first of all we will try to find out. Okay, so what economic survey has said, this time only there is one volume of economic survey. Every year there used to be 2 volumes. In first volume different themes were discussed, specific topics were discussed in the economic survey, and in the second volume the static part like different sectors of economy and their we can say present status that is discussed. But now this year only one volume is there and there is no thematic explanation of these different topics. Okay, so let's see highlights. India's GDP is expected to grow 9.2% this year and 8 to 8.5% next year. Okay, though hardening inflation and energy prices along with tightening of global liquidity pose a challenge according to this year's economic survey. Okay, so what is the projected growth this year? 9.2%, and next fiscal year 8 to 8.5%. Then the growth range hinges on the assumptions that now this particular growth rate projection comes with some caveats. What are the caveats? That there will be no further debilitating pandemic related effect or economic disruption, monsoon will be normal, withdrawal of global liquidity by major central banks will be broadly orderly, oil prices will be in the range of this particular amount, and global supply chain disruptions will steadily ease over the time period of the year. So these are the caveats. If they are we can say happening, then only we will achieve this amount of growth rate. Okay.
So present oil price is very high now, sir, but our Indian finance minister has given an assumption value. If we get the 70 to 75 only, we will reach this goal.
Yes, of course. Otherwise, import bill will increase, na?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it affects the economic growth because the fiscal we can say the space reduces. Trade deficit increases, so that's why it becomes major problem. Okay, while 9.2% growth estimate for this year suggests a recovery above the pre-pandemic level of 2019-20 by 1.3%, the private consumption and segments such as travel, trade and hotels are yet to fully recover. Okay, so private consumption and tourism and trade and hospitality sector. Now growth in 22-23, that is next year, will be supported by widespread vaccine coverage, gains from supply side reforms and easing of regulations, robust export growth and availability of fiscal space to ramp up capital spending. So like this year's budget, we have seen that of course the infrastructure spending is happening, capital spending. Along with that, vaccine coverage, speedy vaccine coverage is there. This is going to reduce our healthcare expenditure. Also, the restrictions because of further waves will also reduce.
It will increase the economic transaction.
Yes, so any kind of restriction that is not going to be there. So this is the positive development we can say, and whatever the growth that will happen will be dependent on or supported by this. Okay. Now the next part discussed demand for MGNREGA work shorten. So they are saying that the demand for MGNREGA work under MGNREGA has stayed in. Okay, recently we discussed the same thing. Demand for work under Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act scheme has dropped from the peak of the first lockdown. So what we observed during the first lockdown, after the first wave, that time reverse migration happened, and because of that there was sudden increase in the demand for MGNREGA work under this scheme. You can see that January 2019, then June, then November, April 20, and sudden peak at that time. Okay, and then again here you can see a little bit higher because of second wave of the pandemic, and now it has to some extent reduced, or pre-pandemic levels are there. Okay, so this is the data from the MGNREGA software itself. It is, we can say, online data directly. However, it cautioned against drawing conclusion about movement of migrant labor on the basis of MGNREGA employment. Why? Because the highest demand for the work under the scheme was seen in the states which are usually destination of the migrant workers rather than source of these states. So that means it is observed that the states like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, Odisha, from which are the source states of these migrant workers, there is less demand for MGNREGA compared to other advanced states where the migrant workers are destined to work. Are you getting this?
Yes, sir. But why it happens? So actually, they are the more consumption people, now, sir.
Yes, of course. So try to understand that MGNREGA work after this first pandemic wave, what happened is there is simply the reverse migration halted, and again these migrant laborers came back to cities. Okay, and during second wave, what happened there? They started demanding work under MGNREGA in those states itself. Okay, because now there is, we can simply say that the interoperability is there, one nation, one ration card is there. So now they started demanding work in those states. Okay, along with that, the unique data we should understand so as to understand the trend here. Okay, and the demand under MGNREGA does not say, or we can say, focus on movement of migrant labor. We should not focus or consider it as a criteria or indicator for understanding that movement of migrant laborers. Otherwise, it will give you faulty idea about that. Okay? Yes. Next, center skips mention of rising food subsidy cost. Now, this is unique aspect. Okay, so what this particular provision says here, see, the economic survey of last 3 years have included the recurring recommendation to address the burgeoning food subsidy bill by revising the rates of subsidized grain as well as the number of people covered by food safety net. This has been the common topic debated in the erstwhile, or we can say the previous economic surveys. Okay, this has been constantly debated and recommended that we need to reduce the safety net or number of people under that, and we have to increase the cost of per kg food grains, NFSA allocations. This recommendation is conspicuously missing this year's report, despite an increase in the subsidy bill. So this year they did not mention about this recommendation. Why? Simply we should understand that now this is the most important aspect during pandemic time. Food security has become the most essential aspect during pandemic time. The least thing that government want will be the death due to hunger. है ना?
So, but they are not discussed any about the food, free schemes as well as the food subsidies.
No, so that's no, but the coverage is there. No, subsidies are given. No, NFSA के under.
But does not give any proper bill about security of food.
No, they have given. The allocation is given. That is fine. But the recommendations they have been giving, we have to reduce the bill, reduce the bill. They have escaped this time. Not given that recommendation. Simply we should understand, because giving such recommendation is antithetical. During pandemic, we should understand food security is the most important aspect.
It will give heavy debate as well as the negative impression will go.
Yes, that's why.
Internationally, we will get the loss of funds also from the organization.
Yes, we can say that, but simply the major welfare state function of the government, for that purpose only we had this NFSA, so that will be affected. And again, immediately Supreme Court will intervene. Basically, Supreme Court has been focusing on this aspect since start of pandemic. Free food grains. Initially, government was reluctant. Immediately, Supreme Court intervened and asked all the states to give free food grains to the eligible and migrant laborers. So that's why it is very important aspect. India ranks third globally in forest area gain. Now, this fact can be mentioned in your answer. Okay, this is very good fact here. It says India has increased its forest area in the past decade and ranks third globally in average annual net gain in last 1 decade. Okay, so what is that? Forest covers 24% of geographical area. Now recently we discussed India's state of forest report. So accounting to 2% of the world's total forest in 2020. Okay, top 10 countries account for 66% of total forest area. Such kind of facts you should be remembering for prelims examination. Okay, जैसे पूछते हैं ना कि इकोनॉमिक सर्वे से क्या क्वेश्चन आता है, so such kind of factual information you should remember. Okay, so Brazil, we know that Amazon forest largely Brazil, then Peru, again Democratic Republic Congo, equatorial forest, dense forest, then Russia, Siberian forest, we can say coniferous. Okay, so that's why we can consider they have large area. Ethanol helps sugar mills clear arrears to farmers. Now what is this observation? Sugar mills sale of ethanol to oil marketing companies, OMCs, help them earn additional revenue and clear the sugarcane price areas to the farmers. This is the observation made here. Okay, so what they have done, simply they are using the sugar to convert it into ethanol, excess sugar production. Okay, so that will help in, and that ethanol is sold to oil marketing companies. So they are earning some additional revenues there. Okay, and that revenue, of course, the pending dues to the farmers, that is the major concern of sugar industries, sugar mills. Okay, so this is being helped now. Okay, along with that, some facts mentioned, like you can see here, about 70 lakh tons of sugar was exported in sugar season, previous season, compared to 59.6 lakh ton. India is the largest consumer and second largest producer of sugar in the world. Okay, so recently in ED lectures we discussed about sugarcane and sugar dispute in WTO. There also we looked into this factual information. Okay, this is sign actually for UPSC to ask question. When so many things happens about one particular thing, they will ask basic question about it. Okay, so just you should be aware कि किस तरीके से क्वेश्चन पूछा जा सकता है. Like this year they asked about this sugarcane water thirsty crop. Which of the following is the highest water thirsty crop? Sugarcane, sunflower, right? So again, very simple kind of question, although. Second wave did not deter job formalization. So data from Employees Provident Fund Organization, EPFO, suggests that not only had formalization of jobs continued through the second wave of COVID-19 pandemic, but the adverse impact of formalization was also lower than in the first wave. Okay, so it shows that there are many people who are seeking the jobs. First thing, they are in workforce. Second thing is that there is formalization of the workforce. We recently discussed in ED lecture the informalization of the economy, right? How it is becoming problem. So formalizing economy is very important, and formalization of workforce is one of the component. Okay, so making simply we can say improving the skills of this workforce. So that will lead to formalization, bringing them under social security, okay, or social security code. So that will be called as formalization here, and it shows that there is improving trend here in formalization. Now, moving on, there is one article on page number 7, editorial page, and it talks about the important cases pending before Supreme Court. Earlier we discussed similar kind of article. Again it will be revision for you. It is a kind of reminder for you कि कौन से important cases अभी भी Supreme Court में pending है. Nationally important we can say. Now yes, talking about last few years, Supreme Court has done well. It has given good, or we can say significant judgments, like we can say right to privacy, Puttaswamy judgment as a fundamental right. Then decriminalize consensual sexual conduct between adults of same sex, section 377 of IPC. It was read down. Okay. Then recognize transgender persons as the third gender. Also outlawed triple talaq. So these are progressive liberal views taken by the Supreme Court. Okay, now the important cases pending before constitutional benches of Supreme Court. Let's understand which are these. First, petitions challenging the constitutionality of Citizenship Amendment Act. Now CAA, which resulted into huge large scale protest in Delhi, right? So what is this? It is for increasing the speed of or expediting citizenship applications selectively of non-Muslims from Muslim majority countries, neighbors. Which are these? Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan. No, not Nepal. Only these three countries. Okay, Muslim majority. Non-Muslims who are coming from this, taking refuge in India. So their citizenship applications were expedited under this law. Okay, so it is some kind of, we can say, religious discrimination. That's why there was protest. So it is still pending. The petitions challenging this citizenship, although this law is not implemented yet. Try to understand this also. Then petition challenging presidential order of August 5, which was this? 5th August 2019. Reorganization of Jammu and Kashmir.
To abolishing the Article 370.
Yes, so it abolished Article 370 and then it reorganized this state of Jammu and Kashmir into two union territories. Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir and Union Territory of Ladakh. Okay, so again the petitions challenging the legality and constitutionality of this, again it is pending. Petitions challenging the constitutionality of Constitution 103rd Amendment Act 2019. Now it is related to, it can be asked in prelims also. 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act related to 10% reservation to EWS quota. Economically weaker sections from the advanced sections of society. Okay, so still the petitions, the Supreme Court has not given the final judgment yet.
Only for need purpose, they just given only for admission purpose.
Okay, so now Vivek Narayan Sharma versus Union of India case. Now this is pending since 5 years. Demonetization. Okay, so legality of demonetization, it is not finally heard this case. Since 2019, the Supreme Court has not listed this case. Okay. Constitutional challenge to the electoral bond scheme. Recently we discussed this scheme also in Hindu analysis. Okay, so this electoral bond scheme has major concerns related to transparency, opaqueness, we can say. And of course, this is the final judgment is still pending before the Supreme Court regarding this. Okay, so that's why ultimately we can say that by abjectly failing to decide key constitutional cases in the time-bound manner, the Supreme Court has not acted as the sentinel on QV. See, UPSC has tendency to ask such kind of, let's say, words, specific words in the polity, used in policy in prelims examination. They will ask meaning of these terms. Okay, so sentinel on the QV means watchful guardian. If suppose this word is used in the question itself, mains examination, you should remember the meaning here. Okay, watchful guardian, Supreme Court. You can use in your answer also this word. Okay. Yes. So yes, Burkina Faso suspended from African Union following the coup there. So yes, location of Burkina Faso. This is the location, Western Africa. Okay, so this is the Western Africa part, and there the Burkina Faso, the surrounding countries, adjoining countries, Mali is there on the northern side, then Niger, this border, then Benin is there, then Togo is there, Ghana, then Ivory Coast, like this. Okay, so these are the countries, adjoining countries. The capital is Ouagadougou. This is the capital city. Okay, some basic information. Previously it was called Republic of Upper Volta, but it was renamed as Burkina Faso in 1984. Okay, the largest ethnic group in the present day Burkina Faso is Mossi people. Okay, ethnic, and these people settled in that area from 11th to 13th century ago. Now 1896, it was colonized by the French Empire as a part of French West Africa, and in 1958 there was provisional autonomy or self-governing colony was created within French community, and immediately in 1960 it got full independence. Okay, so it was French colony, remember like this. आप अगर world history पढ़ते हैं, if you had read world history,
so many African countries are under the control of British.
Yes, British and French, and even within that, let me again additional aspect. So British were very strong at that time and strong navy. So all the coastal areas of Africa were controlled by Britishers, and all the interiors were controlled by French. So you can see this is interior, little bit interior. Okay, so ये आप वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री में पढ़ रहे होंगे, ठीक है? Okay. Then about African Union, it is basically the continental union of these African countries. 55 members are there, and earlier there was one organization of these countries, that was Organization of African Unity. This was formed in 1963 in Addis Ababa, and later it was replaced by African Union. This African Union was founded in 2001 in Addis Ababa and launched in 2002 in Durban, South Africa. Okay, but its secretariat is located in Addis Ababa. Secretariat, it is called African Union Commission. Now, highest decision making body of African Union is Assembly of African Union. Okay, so it meets from time to time, semi-annual meetings happens, and they take decisions regarding this body. The other important institutions under this body, official bodies like Peace and Security Council is there, Pan-African Parliament is there. Okay, so African Union is the largest union of African countries, 55 members. So almost all African countries are the members of this. Now in UPSC examination, prelims examination, generally there are questions related to regional organizations. or political associations. ASEAN grouping is there, or suppose East Asia Summit is there, or suppose if you are talking about Mercosur is there, like economic union, and this is African Union. Okay, European Union is also there. So in South Asia we have SAARC, right? So in Gulf we have Gulf Cooperation Council, right? So in the north we have Shanghai Cooperation Council, right? So such kind of regional organizations, their information is important for our prelims examination. Okay, so on the basis of this, what should be answer to this question then? Yes.
Three is a confirm, sir. Second one is a confused.
No. About African Union, it is continental union consisting 55 members.
That's correct, sir.
This is correct. It was founded in 2001. This is correct. Founded in 2001, launched in 2002. Headquarter is located in Durban. This is incorrect, no? It is not located in Durban. It is located in Addis Ababa, capital of Ethiopia. Ethiopia located in northeastern part of Africa. Okay, so from where the Blue Nile River originates, GER, Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, sometimes in news, the conflict between Sudan and this Ethiopia and Egypt happens there because of waters of Nile River.
Recently, 1 month back, the dispute is running.
Yes, it is from time to time it is in news, GERD. Okay? Yes. So these are the important articles, largely highlights of economic survey we should discuss. And yes, there will be separate lecture on economic survey also by Lukmaan IAS. So there in detail the discussion about economic survey will happen. Fine? Okay, thank you.